Welcome to Florham Park, site of the Jets minicamp, the final aspect of this Jets spring before training camp starts on July 26th up in Cortland. I'm Mark Hale alongside Jets beat writer Brian Costello. And Brian, second day of minicamp, we just finished up. Mark Sanchez, a good day today. We hear a lot about OTA performance or minicamp performance. Sanchez threw well today. What do you take out of that?
Well, it's hard to gauge how much you take out of what happens in May and June, and obviously with Tebow being here, there's been a lot more focus on completions and interceptions and everything during this period. But you have to remember they are in shorts. The defense is limited by the CBA about what they can do. There's no, man press coverage. There's not really a pass rush per se. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. What I've been looking at more with Mark is his command of the offense and not so much how he's throwing the ball. And I think he looks decisive. It looks like he really has a grasp of Tony Sparano's offense, which is impressive because they haven't had that much time to work.
He's great. He pushes you hard. He doesn't want a lot of times, a lot of the coaching is just rhetorical. A lot of the questions are just rhetorical, and he might be phrasing it as a question, but he doesn't really want to respond. So you start to learn that as you go, and he wants it right, he wants it perfect, and he wants it efficient. So you learn that quickly too.
One of the they didn't do a lot in this offseason free agency wise. One of the things they did was bring in safety LaRon Landry from the Redskins. He's been limited injury wise, but you spoke to him today. What'd you think of what he said?
Well, Landry kind of had to explain today where he's been. He missed a lot of the voluntary portion of the offseason program. He hasn't been here during OTAs when it's been open to the media. Yesterday was really the first time we saw him here because this is mandatory. And he said that he was in Arizona last month. He had some stem cell procedures done and some PSP procedures done in February. And he had been visiting that doctor in May to kind of follow up and get some treatment. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that, really.
It's more of like a bone issue. The Achilles is totally healed.
It's clear.
Is that alarming that he revealed these things?
No, I mean, he had an Achilles issue last year. He had a foot injury. He didn't want to have surgery.
Right.
He's kind of done some of these things in his past with the Redskins is some of these alternative procedures. And so, I'm imagining the Jets signed off on it.
Right.
Biggest question with him is how quickly can he learn the playbook, because there's a lot of mental reps during this time. There's a lot of classroom time, and then there's the time on the field, and he hasn't been getting that.
Like I said, I have no doubt I can not be ready, physically and mentally.
And the question is, how quickly can he learn a new defense? And Rex Ryan's defense has a reputation for being a little bit complicated and a lot to it. So, how quickly is he going to learn it? Training camp seems like a long time to me, and I think he can learn it there. I don't think this is a huge deal. If he's still not out there in training camp, if he's still hurt, then there might be reason to worry.
All right, you said if he's out there in training camp, which brings us to Darrelle Revis. Revis talked again today about his contract. Brian, July 26th, you'll be up in Cortland. Will Darrelle Revis be up in Cortland?
That's the $16 million question, I guess. We've been trying to get it out of Revis. He's not giving a straight answer.
The thing about this one is just take my time and weigh my options. I think that's just how you really got to look at it. You can't really look at if I trust the Jets or not because at the end of the day, it's negotiations. You got to weigh the right options, and the team is, and my representatives are for me as well.
I think he'll be there. I don't think there's going to be a holdout. I think at some point, the Jets are going to tell him, hey, look, we'll take care of you next year when there's a year left on your deal, and Darrelle will agree to that. I think Darrelle's referenced that he's grown up in 2 years since he held out, and I think he learned from that process. 2010 wasn't his best season, and I think missing all that time at training camp might have had something to do with it. He injured his hamstring right away when he came back. I think Darrelle would like to avoid a holdout. He's been here this whole time. He hasn't been making waves. He's kind of been making news with his non-answers. It's not like he said he's not going to be in training camp. He just won't say, I'll be in training camp. And that might just be to leave his options open from a business perspective, which you understand. And the Jets really aren't touching this at all. Rex, Mike Tannenbaum, no one is touching this topic on the record or even off the record, really.
I can say this. Everybody knows how I feel about Darrelle. Any contract talk, that's going to be Mike Tannenbaum's deal.
It's hard to say where this stands right now, but my gut is he'll be there.
Last thing for you, Brian, you've gone through OTAs, we've had minicamp. Give me somebody on this team, or two somebodies, whatever you think, that's caught your eye.
Chaz Schillens has really caught my eye, especially this week. He's really jumped out. You know, the Jets signed him in March, the wide receiver. He played for the Raiders, but he's had a lot of injuries in his career and really hasn't had that much time on the field. But, I mean, if he can stay healthy, he looks like a really good player. He's big, he's fast, and he made a beautiful catch on the first day of minicamp in the corner of the end zone over Darrelle Revis. And, I mean, that was eye-opening. And I just think he looks really good. And Stephen Hale, the rookie wide receiver from Georgia Tech, also looks good. And so I think it's going to be interesting in training camp how the two of them are used together or interchangeable. We all know Santonio Holmes is the number one receiver.
Right.
After that, it's all kind of a mishmash of Hill, Jeremy Curley, and Schillens, and Patrick Turner you want to throw in there too. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
You see Schillings, Revis is human, so I made that note. He actually caught a great touchdown catch over Revis, which I felt like stopping practice for.
All right, well, July 26th is when the Jets will next reconvene after their minicamp ends this week. Brian will be at minicamp and up in Cortland as well. You can follow him on Twitter at Brian Kaz. You can follow me at Hale Mark. For Brian, I'm Mark from Florham Park. Thanks for watching.